Hello everyone, how are you? Happy Tuesday evening to you. It is of course Alfonso Moretti, aka The Angry Trainer, and we are here again with another UStream live chat. How's everybody doing tonight? Of course, for all of you that don't know that are watching this on my YouTube channel, you can tune in every Tuesday night, become a member of UStream, and you can watch this live and join in the conversation, which is really cool because when you join UStream, you'll get updates and you'll know what's going on. You'll know ahead of time when my next chat is going to be and what we're talking about. But if not, of course, you can always go to the website, go to my YouTube channel, and you'll be good to go. So today, we are talking about exercise and aging. And of course, we're all getting older. We know that. I'm getting older. You're getting older. We are all getting older. So the question is what do you do as you get older and you want to exercise? What changes do you need to make? Are there things, that you need to be more aware of? So recently, if you've been following me on the Angry Trainer Fitness website, which I know you all are, right? Hey guys, how are you? And by the way, if you're logged into the chat, shoot me over some questions. If you have some questions, I will answer them right as we go along. So the question is what do you do as you're getting older? How does your program need to change? And of course, I've made some notes here. The first thing is, and this is going to sound so silly, and I think it came across maybe as a little harsh when I wrote the article on the website, Fitness After 40, but you have to know your age. It kills me. I'm in the gym and, I'll see these guys working out, and they're clearly people who used to be athletes, even women that used to be athletes, and you see them trying to go through their old football drills. You see them trying to go through their old field hockey or lacrosse drills. But they're pushing their mid-40s, they're pushing their 50s. What worked for you in your teenage years and in your 20s, it's not going to work for you again in your 40s and 50s. Of course, the premise of exercise always stays the same, right? To challenge the body, stimulus, make it stronger and healthier. But you ain't 20 anymore. Therefore, you can't train like you're 20 years old anymore. And really what we're interested in is we're interested in the health benefits. When you're younger, I always say youth is kind of like an eraser. I mean, let's be honest, it is. How many of you out there that are listening to me right now used to eat gallons of ice cream, boxes of donuts, cookies, and cakes? And how many people say, oh, I used to be able to eat whatever I wanted, and now I can't? Yes, now you can't. You shouldn't have been doing that to begin with, but the fact of the matter is that youth provides an eraser of sorts. It lets you get away with things that you just can't get along, that you just can't get over on as you get older. I have a question here. It says, are there any exercise that you shouldn't do when you get older? Well, I wouldn't say that there are exercises that you shouldn't do. I think every exercise has a risk to benefit ratio. And I think the flip side of your question is that there are exercises you should be doing. And the reason why I'm going to say that, I was going to get into that a little bit later with my notes, but as we get older, we tend to, as every successive year goes on, you become a little bit more sedentary. You become a little bit more kind of lazy. You lose some of your strength, you lose some of your balance, you lose some of your stability. And that's why you see a lot of people in their 50s and 60s, they have no balance, they have no stability, they fall down on the ground and they can't get back up again because they have no functional strength. So my way of approaching this is that as you get older, you need to move away from the straight weight training, I want to have big arms and big chest and a nice butt type of training, and really emphasize functional training. You want to make sure that your quality of life stays good. You want to make sure that you stay limber, that you've got good flexibility. You want to make sure you have good balance. You should be able to reach over and touch your toes. It's one of the first things to go is people's flexibility and their balance. Those are two things that you need to train for, and which I train everyone with. So I wouldn't say that you shouldn't do any exercise. What I would say is there are exercises you should do. So that's key. That's something that we need to talk about. We need to talk about, well, how do we train? You want to train for fitness and health. And this is a recurring theme that I keep bringing up over and over and over again. And this is something that, has taken me a long time to learn, is that, we're too focused on using exercise as a way to change the way our bodies look. Everyone wants to look good. Of course we do. Everybody wants six-pack abs. Everybody wants big shoulders, big arms. You want to go to the beach and take off your shirt and have everyone look at you. Okay, fine. The problem with that style of training is that that training is not always indicative of improving your health and your fitness. That's the problem. So again, going back to the comparison of when you were in your teen years, in your 20s, maybe even, towards your upper 20s, when you're in your 50s, you shouldn't be doing 16 sets of bench press. You shouldn't be squatting with 500 pounds underneath the bar. The fact of the matter is with every year that you get older, your recovery declines, your body's resiliency declines, you're more prone to injury. I mean, let's think about it. You're a machine. Your body is a machine. As you use the machine, parts wear out. They're not really as strong as they used to be. It's still held together, but you want to be very careful about the choices and the chances that you take with your body, because the older you get, the more risky the exercises become, the more inherent the risk is for injury, and the longer it's going to take you to heal. Now, I'm living proof of that. I've had neck surgery, hernia surgery, this entire left shoulder has been reconstructed, and recently, this entire bicep completely ripped off, rolled all the way up my arm, and I had to have it reattached. And the reason was simple. The reason was because I was training like a knucklehead. And for your benefit, I've hurt myself for your benefit. How's that? I'm going to play it off on that. It taught me to reevaluate once again and go back to the drawing board and really look at exercise for what it is. Make no mistake, all of the recommendations that I'm making to people that are in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, they're all applicable to that age group. But the truth of the matter is, the real truth of the matter is that everyone should be training that way from the get-go. Yes, you can get away with 25 sets of bench press when you're 16 years old, but that doesn't mean that it's productive towards your health and your fitness at 16 years old. You see my point? It's just that as you travel the graph, as you get older, as you get on in life, you start to see more what damage can possibly be done by training that way. Carla says that she is so amazed when I performed my jump burpees. I am so strong. Carla is referring to, for all of you that are watching, if you're not a subscriber of mine on my YouTube channel, we've recently been releasing some signature Angry Trainer real-time workouts with myself, where I just don't sit there and tell you what to do, or I'm no longer writing the workouts on the website for you, but I'm actually doing the workout with you. And in one of those workouts, I did some burpee jump squats. Carl, it's actually funny. Somebody actually said I look like I'm made out of rubber, but that's a safe exercise to do. I'm 38 years old. I actually have 55-year-olds and 60-year-olds doing modified versions of burpees. Of course, slow and controlled, minimizing the risk of injury. But thank you for your compliment. Maureen McFarland, how are you tonight? Maureen wants to know, do we need to eat a lot less to offset the changes we need to make our exercise routine? I didn't see the end of that. To make your exercise routine. Do you need to eat less to offset the changes we make to our exercise routine? I'm not sure that I understand your question. Do you need to eat less food as you get older? Is that your question? If that is your question, Maureen, in theory, it makes sense that as we get older, our metabolisms are going to slow down. We know that our metabolisms slow down. There's no question about it. That's why even if your activity level stayed identical to when you were 20 years old, and you ate the same exact amount of calories that you ate when you were 20 years old, if you are now 50, you will have accumulated body fat on your body. But it's not just about your metabolism. Your metabolism is also regulated by all these hormonal changes that are going on. As we get older, women hit menopause, there's estrogen changes. As men get older every year after the age of 30, their testosterone level starts to decline. With lower testosterone levels, you're not going to hold on to as much muscle mass. Without as much muscle mass, your caloric requirements are going to go down. You're going to have increased body fat. So, it's paradoxical. Because on one hand, continuing an exercise program and staying focused on your exercise program helps keep those hormonal levels high, which is good. But still, at the end of the day, the older we get, we are going to be moving less. Think again about the machine. The machine has been running 50 years, 60 years. The machine, the human body, it's been running 50, 60 years. It's slowing down a little bit. It's not running like the race car it used to. Therefore, the fuel you put in it most likely needs to be a little bit less. And truthfully, that's why you don't really see very many 50, 60-year-old, 70-year-old people walking around with a six-pack. You just don't. Because you know what? Their body, it's been around a long time. It's been around the block. It's done a lot. Maureen also wants to know, Do you need to take it more easy with the workouts? Well, Maureen, I think you jumped in a little bit late, but this is something that I was addressing. And what I'm addressing is the risk to benefit ratio of exercise. And, you know, up until 30, 35, 40, I think you can pretty much get away with whatever it is you want to do without really worrying too much about it. But I think that as you start to get older, you know, your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, they've got a little bit more wear on them. I think you're going to be a little bit more susceptible to injury. You know, youth is amazing. The hormones are off the chart. Your body's made out of rubber. I mean, I fell off roofs when I was a kid, and I didn't break anything. I think if I were to just fall off this chair onto the floor, I think I'd probably break something. So I don't think you need to necessarily take it easy with your workout. I don't think that the intensity of your workout needs to change. What I think needs to change is the intensity of what? What are you doing? So are you squatting 500 pounds? Are you going on the leg press and putting 1,000 pounds on it? Or are you doing slow and controlled lunges? Are you doing push-ups with perfect form, perfect plank position, maybe with a twist, maybe with a T-square added in? The intensity can stay the same. It's the selection and the risk to benefit ratio that needs to change. We have another question here. It says, I'm 38. When I do deadlifts, my back always hurts. Is that my age or bad form? Well, it depends on what part of your back hurts. The way I generally assess pain is whether or not it's unilateral. In other words, when you do deadlifts, for me personally anyway, when I do deadlifts, my hamstrings always hurt, my glutes always hurt a little bit, and my lower back, right on the outsides of your spine, probably the bottom 5 inches from the top of your glutes up, they'll be sore there because you know your lower back is basically the opposite of your abs as your spine curves over, right? The muscles on the back stretch out, and then for you to stand back up again, you have to pull yourself back up again, which means these muscles along the back, your erector spinae, and some other muscles there are going to get sore. If the soreness is even on both sides, that's most likely muscular soreness. If it kind of feels funky and like it's structural, I would suggest lightening up the load and really squeeze your glutes and see if you can feel it. You know, it shouldn't be sore to the point where like you're walking around hobbling, and especially if it's always, you said it always hurts, shouldn't always hurt. So I would maybe check your form. Maybe you're going to see an Angry Trainer video. I think we're going to have to do that exercise rights and wrongs deadlift form. So another question is, so do you think we should focus first on proper form intensity instead of putting up numbers? You know, absolutely. There is no question about that. At the end of the day, the gym is not a competition for you. The only person that's trying to improve is you. You should always focus on proper form and intensity, but above proper form and intensity, you should focus on a complete fitness program. You know, and this is something I would love to see instituted in 18-year-olds so that they were on the right path and don't end up like me with all of these injuries. You should be training in a variety of ways. You should be doing a little bit circuit training. I don't care what anybody says. You're going to watch this UStream video 20 years from now, and I promise you this will still be current and this will still be true. Circuit training is the best form of exercise where you move from one exercise to the next using a variety of different modalities. There's no question about it. You should be using a little bit of strength training. You should be using a little bit of core training, some burpees, some calisthenics, some jump rope. You should be traveling in circuits, challenging all the various systems of the body all at one time. The days of sitting down on a bench, doing 12 reps with the weight, and then sitting there for another 2 minutes so that you can lift more weight 2 minutes from now, those days are over. The only people who should be training that way are bodybuilders. If you're not a bodybuilder, don't train like a bodybuilder. Train like somebody who is interested in health, fitness, vitality, vigor, and a long life. That's the way you want to train. Carla says that's why she follows me. Thank you, Carla. So let's get back to what I was talking about. So here's some of the other things that we want to focus on. Now these, like I said, these are important. They're always important, but they become more important as we age because the nutrients, the vitamins, the rest, the recovery, those are all things that matter more to us as our body gets older. It's kind of like when you have a new car, right? When you have a new car, you don't necessarily need to change the oil every 3,000 miles because it's new, everything's running tight, everything's great, right? That's the way it is. But as the car gets older, things start to break and things need to be maintained more often. Your body's the same way. That's the way you want to think about it. So now you might need to change the oil every 3,000 miles to keep the car running tip-top. That's the way it is. So we want to make sure that we're consuming healthy fats. Healthy fats are great because one, we need them for fat-soluble vitamins, but two, because they're also anti-inflammatory and they're good for heart health. There aren't a whole lot of 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds walking around that are worried about heart health, but you should be as you get older. Actually, as we have a question right now, as you get older, do I recommend a joint support supplement, and which do I recommend? Hey Jeff, how you doing tonight? You know, Jeff, I have to be honest with you. I probably need to do more research on this. I did years ago, because of my shoulder surgery, I did look into some glucosamine. I looked into shark cartilage. I looked into chondroitin and, you know, combination supplements. And as far as I could tell, the jury really seemed to be out. You could find people on one hand that had terrific results with it. You could find people on the other hand that had no results with it. You say joint support, you know, it's interesting because I just mentioned healthy fats. You know, healthy fats are anti-inflammatory. And there's some evidence, you know, when it comes to arthritis and joint pain that including healthy fats in the diet helps to alleviate that. So, you know, there may be some truth in, you know, joint support supplements. As I always say, the problem with supplements is that they only work as long as you take them. So the problem is if you're somebody who finds a product that you like, you know, when you're 40 years old and it happens to work for you, you don't have to really worry about finding that product for the next 45 years of your life. That's the problem when it comes to supplements. But I'm going to look into that a little bit more, and maybe we'll do a posting on the site. Maureen wants to know, she's really careful of her knees now, and she recently got a case of plantar fasciitis. What's the best exercise for effectiveness, but one that saves joints? Well, first of all, plantar fasciitis. I'm going to throw a little plug out here to Vibrams, and I'm going to tell you, get your sneakers off. For all of you that wear sneakers, you know, this is something I actually hadn't thought of, but we should think about this. You know, after years of wearing sneakers, and of course, you should all know this about me, I'm a big barefoot supporter, you know, minimalist shoes, the 5 Fingers from Vibrams. New Balance just sent me some very bare, minimal shoes that don't have support. You know, I'm a big believer in not wearing sneakers. I'm sorry. I'm a big believer in no cushion, and I think one of the reasons why you have plantar fasciitis is because you've been wearing sneakers. I would encourage you to look into some barefoot training and see if maybe you can strengthen that. When you say what's the best exercise for effectiveness, but that saves the joints, you know, your knees, people hurt their knees from bad positioning. You know, if you look at the structure of the knee, I should pull it up and have a graph for you guys, but it's really just a basic, it's just a basic joint like this, okay? And in the middle of it is an X. You've got 2 tendons there, and you have 2 tendons on the outside of it, and you have a cushion on the bottom called your meniscus, where the joint rides like this. So you've got something that controls it from moving forward and backward, and you have tendons and ligaments on each side that stop it from going laterally this way. The problem is that people torque it. So for instance, when I did my video on how to do medicine ball chops correctly, people who don't pivot their knees, they end up doing this. You can see it's like spinning. You can start to strain, you can tear. Overuse obviously can wear out that meniscus, that pad that sits on the bottom. Too far forward with the wrong motion, you can rip an ACL. You've probably heard that before. It's a very common injury, MCL. So the best way to avoid injury is just to make sure you have perfect form. You're doing squats, you're doing step-ups, you want to make sure all the weight's on your heel. You want to make sure you're absorbing the landing if you're doing any type of plyometrics. You know, think about, you know, your body and being nice to it and using it in a manner in which it's productive, not that you're killing it and you're impacting it. So that's what I would do. Best exercise for effectiveness, slow and controlled. The slower you go, the less likely you are to get hurt. Make sure you have correct form, and your knees should be fine, unless you have an underlying problem. Carla asks, do I think supplements are really necessary or just eating well? Well, good question, Carla. I think if you eat a very well-rounded diet, I think supplements probably aren't all that necessary. Depends on what kind of supplement you're talking about. If you're somebody who's looking for athletic improvements and you're looking to take creatine, you're looking to take any of these, enhancers, things that will enhance your workout, well, then I think that you're going to get some, you're going to get a benefit from that. Again, you only get the benefits of supplements as long as you take them. I think a good multivitamin, multi-mineral per day, I think that's harmless. I don't think you can suffer any ill effects from it. However, there is some evidence and support that it does work well. So I think that's a good idea. All these other supplements, it just seems like every day there's just a new one on the market. If you're someone who doesn't eat regularly, of course, I'm a big advocate of drinking whey protein shakes. So, of course, I think that's a good plan. So that's the answer to that question. I think supplements can be necessary depending on your goals, but again, they only work as long as you're going to take them for. Okay, so before I said healthy fat, you need to eat the healthy fats, anti-inflammatory effect. Fiber. Fiber is super important, and this is definitely something that we don't think about as kids, but fiber as we get older is really important. The benefits of fiber are numerous, and they're proven. You've got, cancer fighting, you have cholesterol lowering, keeps you fuller longer. I mean, the benefits of fiber are without a doubt proven. So you either want to take a fiber supplement that you mix in your drink, or just make sure to eat plenty of fruits, vegetables, get some brown rice in there. Make sure that fiber is part of your diet. Jeff says, how would I address a plateau as I age? Should you push more weight to buzz through a plateau even though you're aging? No. The answer is no, no, no. It's interesting. Jeff, if you had asked me this question years ago, I would have told you I'm all about the weight. And this is something that's in my head that I even need to get out of, because I used to pride myself on how strong I am. But what does that do for you? Do you understand what I'm saying? What does that do for you? How does lifting more weight make you more fit and make you healthier and make your life more productive? It doesn't. It doesn't make you more fit. You know what? If you want to push yourself and up the intensity, keep the weight the same and slow the rep down. Let's say you're doing chest presses. You're stuck on 60-pound dumbbells and you want to push through a plateau. How about trying the dumbbell presses one arm at a time? One arm up, one arm down. How about doing them laying over the back of a Swiss ball? So you have to make a bridge. How about doing them with your feet up on the bench? How about doing them with your eyes closed? How about doing a 5-second down and a 5-second up rep? It's interesting. I always say some of the worst trainers out there, the only thing they know, the only way they know how to push their clients harder is just by giving them a heavier weight. There are so many other levels, so many other ways for you to challenge yourself and take your fitness to an entirely new level. And again, the only thing that's going to do for you, Jeff, it's going to make you push more weight. So if you're a power lifter, then good for you. But if you're not a power lifter and you're in the gym because you want to look good, you want to feel good, you want your muscles to be a little bit bigger, more weight is not always the answer. There is a limit to what your body can handle. That's my feeling on that. So I would try to challenge yourself in other ways. Richard wants to know, are there any supplements that I think are especially overrated? Richard, I have to tell you, there's so many of them. I mean, gosh, I was just in a vitamin store the other day, and it was really crazy. The number of things in there. It seems like we've got two different industries going. We have the health industry, that promotes multi minerals and vitamins, and colon health, and men taking saw palmetto, which is something I was actually going to suggest because that's proven. Males 45, 50 years old taking some saw palmetto per day reduces their prostate size, and could prevent some cancer growth possibly. So you have all the health stuff, in your vitamin stores. But then on the other side, you have all the fitness stuff, which is crazy. You've got testosterone boosters, nitric oxide boosters, energy boosters, pre-workout supplements, after-workout supplements, pre to the pre, before the after-workout supplement. It's crazy. And it seems like that stuff goes in cycles. Plus, you also have fat burners. That would actually be my best answer right there is, what supplement do I think is especially overrated? I would say any of the fat-burning supplements. There really is no such thing as a fat-burning supplement. Some of these things that you'll find that consider themselves to be fat burners, they have chemicals in them. And this is important, and I should fill everybody in on this. Just a little bit when it comes to your local vitamin shop. Of course, you're going to go with reputable brands. There's nothing wrong with going with a reputable brand, but you should know that most of the things that you find in your store are not regulated. They're not regulated by the government. They're not checked for potency. They're not checked for accuracy. They're not checked that what they say is on the bottle is actually in the capsule inside. There have been some instances over the years where they have found products to have ingredients in them that were illegal, that were harmful, that the companies knew were dangerous, and they still put it in there. Because why? Because it got results. And why? Because people wanted to be thinner and fit in their skinny jeans. You need to get your head out of exercising as a replacement for plastic surgery without the knives, and think about exercise as health and fitness and maintenance of your body. If you think about it that way and you approach it that way, you will look better and you will feel better. But the fat-burning supplements, I think the potential for abuse, I think the fact that they now have a billion different ingredients in them, I think they're dangerous, personally. That's my own personal thought on that. Okay, so I told you, fiber, healthy fats, we need to consume that. Of course, calcium for strong bones. This is especially true with women as they age. Calcium is really, really important. And it's also important to eat a healthy diet, because just because you take in calcium doesn't mean you can absorb it. So you have to have a healthy diet. Make sure that you're able to absorb that calcium. That also means that as women age, you know, diet soda, you got to ixnay it. The diet soda is really not good. I mean, it's not good for anybody. It's especially harmful to women as they get older. What do we need to focus on? We need to focus on weight-bearing exercises. We need to make sure that we are appropriately stimulating the body in order to keep that bone density up. Because as we get older, bone density declines. It's just a fact of life. It's the way it is. How do you make your body want to stay stronger? How do you make your body want to keep muscle mass on it? It's simple. You have to put a little bit of an external load in it. And this is one of the arguments that I have with some people when they talk about yoga and body weight exercises. Fantastic. Yoga is great. You know, body weight exercises, they're great. However, they do not provide the same stimulus as putting a weight in your hand. I mean, if you just think about it logically for a second, it can't. You know, standing on the ground, walking. I had a woman the other day yell at me on Twitter and tell me that walking is a weight-bearing exercise. Okay, yes, it's a weight-bearing exercise because you're walking and you're moving your weight. However, your body is designed to walk. There's plenty of people walking around that have major osteoporosis that walk every day. It didn't do much for them. Now, did it? No. You need to externally load your body with the weight in order to keep that muscle mass and those bones strong. Maureen would like to know, can women get rid of the lower gut over 40? You know, you can get rid of anything you want. This is something I was going to come out with on the site, and I'm going to call it the Survivor diet. I don't know how many of you out there watch the show Survivor. You know, if you watch the show Survivor, you'll see people from all walks of life, all different fitness levels. They get dropped off on an island. And you know what? You come back 39 days later, and everyone is skinny. In 39 days, everyone is skinny. Why is everyone skinny in 39 days? I'm going to tell you why. Because they have to build their shelter, they have to walk around the island and look for food, and they have to be active all day long. And they don't have access to junk food anymore. Those people aren't starving on Survivor. They have rice, they have fish, they have fruits, they have vegetables. They're eating the way we should all be eating. And in 39 days, you can see how much of a change goes on within their body and how much body fat they lose. And sadly, when you watch the reunion show, they've all gained it back. But the point in case is that if I dropped all of you off on an island and came back in 39 days, I promise you, you would all be lean, mean, fighting machines. It's our culture, it's our civilization, it's the way we eat, it's the way we approach everything that makes us the way that we are. So yes, you can absolutely rid yourself of the lower gut over the age of 40. It all depends on how you train and how you eat. Jeff wants to know, is there a correlation between too much protein in your diet and developing and aggravating gout? You know, Jeff, this is actually interesting, and this is perfect timing for you to ask me this question. Because I recently had started a diet, a high-protein diet, and I have to be 100% honest with you. I'm getting some kidney pain from it. At least I think I'm getting some kidney pain from it. I've been having this pain in my left lower back here, and ironically, the question that you're asking, I've been researching for the past 2 days. It seems to be specific to the individual, to be perfectly honest with you. If you are a person who has a family history of potential kidney problems, there is a possibility, or gout problems, there is a possibility that, you know, too much protein in their body, your body can't filter it, your kidneys can't handle it, and some conditions can exist. You can get kidney stones, you can get gout, you can get problems with your kidneys. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have my kidneys tested in 2 weeks. I'm so worried about it. So, but everything that I've read, it seems that it's really specific to the person. I don't know how much you're talking about with too much protein, but you know, on average, safe protein, 1 gram, 1.5 grams per pound of lean body weight seems to be the average number going, but that's going to be for another conversation. We have 1 minute left, and I just want to run this down with you guys. I don't want this chat to end. We're actually done now, but I want to tell you what I want to tell you. So calcium for strong bones, weight-bearing exercises. As we get older, you have to train for cardiovascular health. You must challenge your cardiovascular system, improve your heart function, your lung function. It's going to be very, very important as you get older to train that heart, make sure it's strong, make sure it pumps as much blood as you need. And as I said earlier on, flexibility and balance. You know, you should be able to stand on one foot and reach over and do a deadlift without falling over. You need to have balance. You need to have flexibility. It's super, super important. You're going to realize this as you get older. How many times you look around a room and you see older people that can't get up out of a chair? They're so weak. You know, if something falls on the ground, they can't bend down and pick it up. That's unacceptable. You need to be able to do these things. And if you take anything away from what I've said tonight, the key with this is know your age. Know your age, know your goals, and train for those goals. You are not 20 years old anymore. Anyway, I hope everyone had a wonderful night. Please, please, please recommend me to all your friends. Follow me on Facebook, Angry Trainer Fitness, Twitter at Angry Trainer Fit. Join my YouTube channel. I want to thank Sears Fit Studio, Fitfluential Ambassadors, Men's Fitness, Vibrams,